For more stories like these, go to www.social-tv.co.za, subscribe to us on YouTube and follow us on our social mediums.
In today's conversation, we have a chat to an organization called Mama Alliance, who's identified a critical need within communities. 21 million South Africans do not have a regular supply of clean water. Wrap your mind around that. And during this COVID-19 period, that problem is even more exacerbated. We have a chat to German More, who is a CSI consultant for Mama Alliance, about the work that they're doing in communities and how borehole water might just be the solution to fight the COVID-19 pandemic. You're listening to our social newscast with me, Sam Marshall. German, thank you very much for your time. Let's talk about the statement that was put out to us around boreholes to give communities access to clean water to fight COVID-19. Now, we know that there are more than 21 million South Africans who do not have a regular supply of clean water. As a CSI consultant for Mama Alliance, what is your concern during this period?
So our concern at the moment is access to reliable water for communities, particularly the ones that are in rural communities, because South Africa has always had water shortage problems, and in terms of supply of water, municipal water supply has always been interrupted by a lot of things. So our concern is really making sure that communities have access to water so that they can be able to prevent the spread of the virus.
There are so many issues that people have to deal with during this COVID-19 period. I mean, it's well over 3 months now of a form of lockdown. And the idea and access to drinking water is not something that I've seen in the public space often. Why do you think it's so important at the moment for us to really start thinking about if we're going to fight COVID-19 as we head into winter now?
So water is quite important now and also beyond COVID-19. And I think it's high time that we put a spotlight on the shortage of water in communities, because this issue has always been there. And I saw some interventions that was done by the government in the middle of the virus during this period, where they delivered water tanks, and also there are solutions where they want to start installing drilling boreholes. And I think it is too late, but it's also welcomed. But beyond COVID-19, we need to start thinking about sustainable water supply solutions in communities.
German, when you talk about that it's too late, are you saying that this should have been prioritized within rural communities years ago, and that all COVID has done now has kind of shifted the focus away from the essential stuff, because so much money has gone towards fighting this pandemic, so many attention and energy has gone towards curbing its spread, dealing with the sick, that issues around drinkable water, communities that have never had access to clean water, will go maybe further down the list, will not be prioritized?
No, when I say it's too late, meaning that the intervention that the government has done by putting aside around 600 million to install, to deliver water tanks to communities and also drill boreholes, it should have been done before COVID-19, when communities were protesting, communities were complaining about water shortages in their communities. And I think it is very important that moving forward, we prioritize the issue of water, because there's infrastructure in communities, but the water is not supplied on a regular basis.
The issue of water is even more important now during the COVID period, because in actual fact, you need to be able to wash your hands, sanitize surfaces. You need to be able to stay hydrated.
Yes, at the moment it's even more important. And beyond just adhering to COVID-19 regulations by ensuring that you wash your hands on a regular basis, we also in the country, we are experiencing a serious food hunger, or the hunger has increased. And there are communities that are running small vegetable gardens who really need supply of water to maintain those gardens. And it's very key that they receive uninterrupted water supply.
So you guys are on the ground at the moment as Mama Alliance. What are you seeing in these communities? I know that you've managed to put a couple of boreholes, dig a couple of boreholes, provide water in that way to some of the communities. But what are you experiencing on the ground, German?
With the boreholes that we've installed in, I think, 2 communities that I can make an example of, the communities are able now to access water. And the challenge also is communities that are in deep rural areas who don't have access to clean and safe water. They only have to rely on the water tanks that are supplied by the municipalities. And they also have to rely on unsafe water wells that they get water from.
We are all familiar with the images of seeing children walking with buckets great distances. We've heard the stories in the past of community members having to walk crazy distances in order to get fresh drinking water to be able to bath with and to kind of bring into their spaces. What have you, as Mama Alliance, been able to do with your partners over the last couple of years, and how have you seen that visibly change your community?
So what we have really seen is that once we have a borehole installed in a community, families are no longer traveling distances to fetch water, and they are using the water that is at the centers that provide that actually gives them more than just water, which is programs in the communities. So what we have really seen and the work that we have done is that we have been able to provide some level of surety to communities in terms of water supply.
I know that you guys work with a bunch of partners, and some of them are in South Africa, are on the continent, are global. The Water for All Fund in the sub-Saharan region. I know that you guys have also partnered with the Atlas Copco Group. Many people are asking for money. There is a campaign to raise funds for face masks for frontline staff. There is another campaign to provide free data for students. There's all these campaigns happening at the moment. How do you get to the top of that heap to say, listen, we need corporates to really understand that water is a critical resource in a community?
So if you look at the lifespan of a borehole, it's around 10 to 15 years. So we think corporates should start seeing this as a long-term investment. And if they are taken care of or installed by qualified contractors, maintaining a borehole is not that expensive. So companies through their CSI budgets will reach out to organizations such as ourselves for sustainable partnerships. And we work in more than 70 sites across the country, which is mostly rural areas. So we are able to refer them to areas that are really in need of water supply.
And how do they get hold of you, German?
So they can get hold of us at info@mamasalliance.com, and they can also visit our website for more information.
German, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much, sir.
So that is German More, a CSI consultant for Mama Alliance, who has a network of over 33 independent and autonomous grassroots organizations which currently operate from 75 sites across South Africa, reaching over 60,000 children. And as you heard German say, that a borehole has a lifespan of 15 years. So I'm sure that's something you must consider.